Thanks for taking the time with us. What did you learn about the wants, the needs of Port Moody residents in the survey? What did they really, really want?
Well, there's a number of different avenues that we looked at in terms of facilities and recreation uh, opportunities for the future, and we kind of um, narrowed it down to we put it into separate categories. So we're looking at arenas and ice demand, as well as aquatic facilities, and then our community centers, and then of course our outdoor opportunities and multi-sport spaces. So it's kind of a combination, and sport fields.
And so, what came at the top of the list?
Well, there's a number of different sort of competing priorities, but we came out of it looking at like there's a big demand for aquatic facilities. So
Hmm.
either a new indoor pool or some type of a maybe a renovation of one of our pools. Excuse me.
And was that at all surprising, given that, trying to get swimming lessons for your kid in any
Yeah.
municipality in the Lower Mainland is like, trying to get tickets to a Taylor Swift concert?
It's about the same, right? No, it didn't come as a huge surprise to me. It's something that we is kind of been on our radar for many years.
So, what is that going to mean then for the municipality? Are we talking about undertaking a major new pool project?
Yeah, likely sometime in the future there will be a new pool built. What and I'm not sure. We haven't determined if it's right now. We have two outdoor pools, so we are looking at the feasibility of an indoor aquatic facility.
And how feasible is that then?
No, it is feasible, but I mean, likely we would probably want to decommission one of our outdoor pools if we were going to take the step of going into an indoor pool. But this is really just about looking at what the potential future capacities might require. It's not a planning exercise in that it's a short. We're looking short term right now for the long term planning blueprint. So there isn't like it's not a funding decision, so that all has to come down the road, but it's kind of giving us a highlight on what we may need down the road.
Well, when you say it's not a funding decision, what does that mean?
It means that while we are having some basic understanding of what those facilities might cost, we're not committing funding to those at this point. It's simply a blueprint for the future. So
Um,
the funding for those will come from a variety of different sources, but it not until we've actually come to the point where we're making a decision around which facilities will be implemented will those discussions take place.
it seems to me that any, self-respecting city or municipality would have some kind of indoor aquatic space. No?
Well, we've we're a small city and we are surrounded by very large cities. So to date, our community has been able to, it's a 5-minute drive to Coquitlam
Right.
to access their indoor facilities. There's multiple indoor facilities around us, so it hasn't been a priority to date.
And are people from Port Moody as welcome as everybody else at those facilities?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good working relationship with our neighbors, but their populations are growing as well, so there is a higher demand on those facilities. So it's time for us
Mm.
to look at at some point we always knew that at around 50,000 people, it becomes more of a probable outcome
Yeah.
that you would have your own facility.
You have the opportunity to look ahead. You've got this
Yeah.
survey, as that is helping guide you. Just how challenging is it to try to plan for, a bunch of people who haven't even moved to Port Moody yet?
Well, it's kind of a fun exercise actually, because then you can really sort of open up your, be creative in your thinking and really, we're not committed to doing anything at this point. I mean, if our population stagnates again, then we will likely not have to do any of this. But I've been on council since 1996. For 30 years, we have been growing. When I was first on council in the early 2000s, during that period of time, we were going through a similar a similar phase where we were taking on tremendous growth. And in fact, when I first came on council, we were less than 20,000 people, and we're almost 40 now. So we have doubled our population since I first came in, and we actually did a similar exercise at the time, and we won an award, an international recognition through LivCom for most livable city in the world for planning for the future. This isn't new for Port Moody.
Mm.
We're planning because that's the appropriate and responsible thing to do. We don't want to be blindly accepting growth and moving forward without having a plan.
A lot of municipalities, though, do struggle with keeping on top of things like ice rinks and pools, and even pickleball courts. How is Port Moody prioritizing?
Well, you're looking at what the trends are. You're looking at, and a lot of it comes from the community. What are the demands of the community? So we've looked at some of the growing trends within the recreation area, and you brought up pickleball. Pickleball is one of them, and so we're venturing right now to be increasing our capacity for that. There's a huge demand. Basketball is another one. It's kind of gone through its ebbs and flows, but there's a big demand for basketball courts now. So, we're looking at those types of quick fixes, quick wins, as you might say. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it's important to think ahead and to be prepared.
And when you look around the Lower Mainland, do you look at municipalities? Is there a municipality you look at and go, "Hey, now those guys have got it together. They're doing it well."
There's a few. I think Burnaby's had a good program in place. Coquitlam's got some really good programs in place. A lot of their development and a lot of their growth over the past 10 years, their facilities have been paid for through that growth.
Yeah.
That's changed. So we're not able to sort of capture the same amenities that we used to be able to. So it requires a bit more thinking and partnerships and things like that in order to see these things come to fruition.
How much do you think people consider recreational facilities when they're making a decision about where they want to live in the Lower Mainland?
I think it's probably part of the decision. I mean, Port Moody is a very desirable place to live. We do have great facilities, but we've also, like, one of the benefits that we have is our environment,
Mm.
and where we are situated on the water. So, I mean, I think there's lots of things that bring people to municipalities. Responsible governance is one that I personally would be considering,
Yeah, but you're
but
biased that way.
a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's been sort of what I live and breathe for the last 30 years, but
Yeah.
um, yeah.
All right. Mayor Lahti, we'll leave it there this morning. Great to hear from you. Thank you so much, as always.
Well, thanks for having me
All
on.
right. You take care. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.
That is Meghan Lahti, the mayor of Port Moody, talking about recreational facilities in that ever growing municipality.